Jets, I hear them say it now.
Jets, white, green, just green and white. Tell me, have you ever seen a team take flight? Super Bowl dreams are still in sight. All we gotta do is win tonight. White, green, just green and white. Tell me, have you ever seen a team take flight? Super Bowl dreams are still in sight. All we gotta do is win.
What is going on, YouTube? We are back for another video on the Turn Up the Jets YouTube channel. As always, I am your host, Joe Scurto, aka Turn Up the Jets. And before we get into the first episode review of Hard Knocks, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And if you are new, welcome to the channel. And if you already subscribed, much appreciated for all the support. Like the video if you actually like it. Also, you can follow me at Turn Up the Jets on social media platforms such as Twitter and Instagram. That's right. I said that I will be doing this, and I am delivering. Hard Knocks episode 1 recap. If you are new to the show or new to the channel and whatnot, I did not really give a shit a few weeks ago when the Jets were announced as the Hard Knocks team. I kind of expected it for months as soon as they, ultimately traded for Aaron Rodgers, but I wasn't thinking it was so much going to be a distraction. I just didn't like how they were forced to do something they did not want to do. Robert Saleh made it clear they did not want to do this. Aaron Rodgers didn't want to do this. Joe Douglas, the front office, nobody wanted to commit to this. But I think Hard Knocks have obviously adjusted and have really granted the Jets wishes of what they do and don't want to do, or show rather, on this series. And it seems like the Jets are embracing it now. It seems like Saleh has embraced it. It seems like Aaron Rodgers has embraced it. The entire team, and the energy is off the charts. So now I feel better, and now I just am waiting for episode 2 because I absolutely loved it. And One Jets Drive, they do a tremendous job over there for the New York Jets, for their team and their organization. But man, HBO kills it, of course, as well. Like this was really, really well done. And I'm happy that they are embracing it. And I was going to make a list of topics during the episode that I wanted to break down, but this is a recap, so I'm just kind of gonna wing it. And I guess we'll start out at the opening scene. It's Robert Saleh talking about his crow story. And it's fascinating because he briefly mentioned that during his first press conference after Sean Payton made those comments that the Jets are only going to be off-season winners, and Nathaniel Hackett did the worst job in coaching history with the Denver Broncos last year. And of course, it was also the famous "if you ain't got haters, you ain't popping" press conference. But he mentioned the crows, and he said that this was, an analogy that he'll explain later. Well, ultimately, he does in the very opening scene of episode 1, talking about essentially the only bird, correct me if I'm wrong, can get to an eagle is a crow, but the eagle essentially can go higher than a crow. So if the eagle spreads his wings and keeps going higher and higher and higher in the sky, ultimately the crow will crumble down to the ground because it cannot sustain the height that an eagle can. So he's saying the crows are haters and the Jets have to be the eagle. Exceed the expectations. Go as high as you can, because the higher you get, the less haters you will have. The more you achieve, the more haters will hide behind closed doors because, they were wrong of hating on the Jets. People are going to hate on the Jets. Get used to it. They have Aaron Rodgers. The Jets became a hated team as soon as they traded for Aaron Rodgers. That's what happens. When you trade for a good quarterback and get expectations, people want to hate on you. I'm sure that same thing happened with the Buccaneers and with the Broncos, but it's essentially a little different with Aaron Rodgers because we know he's a controversial guy in regards to the media. I think he gets a bad rep, of course, and I think this show really tells you, and you could say, oh, he's only doing it because of the cameras. No. This is him every day. The camera's on him every day. Was he just going to fake his way? No. Players love him. He's embracing it, but you're going to have expectations. It's going to come hate as soon as you get Rodgers. So Saleh's basically saying they got to embrace it. And it makes so much sense why the Jets go and hire a guy like Saleh. Calm, cool, and collective. I want to see a little crazy Saleh. I think we will. I want to see at least 1 or 2 flip outs from Saleh, F-bombs left and right. But something about Robert Saleh laying off a few F-bombs in that opening speech just pumped me up. You know, he is a leader of men. The players clearly love him. And I love the reactions of the players. Breece Hall and who else reacted to it? It might have been JFM, Aaron Rodgers. They kind of just smirked when he starts talking about the Crows. You know, he is a storyteller. I remember former Jet now, Braxton Berrios, was on a podcast maybe in 2021 saying that Robert Saleh is a pure storyteller and he enjoyed him. So this is not the first time that he tells a story like this. He has all these different little stories. So it only felt right that they opened up with this, especially that it kind of relates to the press conference of Sean Payton, in which, of course, they got into a little bit. But I think it was a great opening scene. And then you go right into Aaron Rodgers, right? Of course. Dude, the amount of chance he got in the training camp. Shout out to the Jets fans. Like, literally, shout out to the Jets fans. I wish I lived in New Jersey so I can just wake up and go to training camp. I would literally go every day, or try to, even though I work a full-time job. But I would try to sneak off at least a few times, at least the weekends, for sure. So I'm jealous. But the energy over there in training camp is out of control, dude. It's great. And it's the way it should be. When Rodgers came out, you would have thought Jesus Christ himself came back to earth. Eruption. Aaron Rodgers chants. You could tell the players it's new. They're like, this is new, but I think it was Michael Carter. He goes, he's the GOAT. He's the GOAT. So just one player can change the whole outcome of the season, expectations for a team, and the environment and the energy. And he has done that. And he has embraced it. He's embraced that leadership role, and he has embraced the mentor role with Zach Wilson. Of course, we know how I feel about Zach Wilson's future as a Jet. Still think he could be a good quarterback. I'm impressed by him. He has matured in 1 year immensely. He's taken on the backup role, and that's not hard to do. This dude was drafted 2nd overall just 2 years ago. Now he has to take a step back for at least 2 years. It's not easy. Saleh even said it during one of his interviews in the episode. It's not easy what he's doing. So it's impressive of how much he has embraced it. He is just a sponge. Every time Rodgers is doing something, he's looking on. Or if Rodgers is explaining something to him or even someone else, he's always in on the conversation. Listening to when he speaks, you listen. That's essentially what you do when Aaron Rodgers opens his mouth. Because say what you want about the dude, he is insanely smart. And I don't even think this did enough justice of how smart he really is. But you got the inside look of, there's a reason why this guy has won 4 MVPs, a Super Bowl and a Super Bowl MVP, why he's basically been a top 3 quarterback over the last 15 years. It makes sense. The pure talent is out of control, but to pair that up with somebody who's very intelligent, that's what makes up a Hall of Fame quarterback. And that's exactly what the Jets have. So I liked the role that Zach Wilson played and the energy. It's really cool. He's changed everything, even early in the episode as well with Ulbrich. And I like Jeff Ulbrich. I thought we were going to see a lot of Ron Middleton, and I think he was like the candidate of being like the sneaky star of Hard Knocks. We didn't see him once on camera, which is kind of disappointing. Maybe we see him episode 2, but I like Jeff Ulbrich. Not only because every other word is F, but he's intense. And it was really cool when he was going over the film saying, hey, we would have got a sack, but this is strength versus strength, essentially. I don't think those are his exact words, but like going at offense, defense. And Rodgers just makes this insane throw. He almost rolls to his right slightly, and he just throws across his body into the corner of the left side of the end zone. He goes, no other human is throwing that. He goes, that is our quarterback. That's our quarterback. We don't have to play it. We don't have to worry about him. And he said that they're going to be in every game because they have him as the quarterback. The defense just got to do their job. And then you see Sauce high-fiving people. Everyone's just smiling and laughing like, dang, that throw is silly. It was silly. The vibes are immaculate over there. They're tremendous. It makes me so amped. I'm sad that we have to wait not only just another week for Hard Knocks, but another 4 weeks for the season. Like, I want to watch NFL football. I want to watch Jets regular season football. Only a few more weeks. We're almost there. But man, oh man, that is very impressive of what one guy can do to a whole team. Quinnen Williams, I think he's going to take on a leadership role. He already had, but I think it's going to go. Honestly, when I mentioned that, though, CJ Mosley really wasn't in it too much. Now that I'm mentioning Quinnen Williams, but I think Quinnen Williams is going to embrace the leadership role. He's got his money. He's clearly one of, you can say him or Sauce are the best players on the defensive side. Good vibes for him. He's happy. His laugh is awesome. So it's really cool to see Q back, Q happy. He's got his bag, and I'm really interested to see what the limit is for him. I think the sky is the limit for him in terms of potential. He could be one or two best interior defensive tackles in the league. So excited to see what Q can do. He got a solid amount of screen time. Sauce Gardner got, of course, a lot of screen time. It was really cool. They show him graduate Cincinnati, a humble dude. He was talking to a few Jet fans that are actually graduating. He autographed a jersey. I don't think that was actually in it, but it was on social media a few days ago. You know, he's all about his family. He's just such a class act, man. I don't know how. The fact that Sauce Gardner gets hate is just obnoxious. Him versus Garrett Wilson. The classic iron sharpens iron, right? The overused phrase, but it's true. Those two going at it, man. It's just, they're going to get better and better. You know, that is just an unbelievable matchup that happens practice after practice. And by the way, Garrett Wilson is limited today. He is suiting up. He's not practicing fully, but he is at least has a helmet on. So that's a good sign. Dwayne Brown is close. I'll give you a mid recap injury update. Dwayne Brown is close per Saleh as well. And that's really all I got. And the Jets are going to keep three quarterbacks after waiving Strebler. So it seems like they might be going Rodgers, Wilson, and Boyle for the season. I would not be surprised if that's what we see once their 53-man roster comes out. But yeah, Sauce, tremendous. Embracing just everything. He's a humble dude. You could just see his glowing face when he looks at Rodgers. They got handshakes. You, of course, gave him the chain. But yeah, Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson's a lot more... I don't know how to... Like, Garrett Wilson's a very chill... Like, he's not really in the light, I feel. Obviously, he's going to be a superstar, but... He was loud. He was swearing. Like, I liked his energy. His energy's a lot. I don't know how to explain it, but he's definitely more of an upbeat person that I thought, because he's so reserved and he's so humble, and he's kind of not monotone, but just calm, cool, and collective all the time, it seems. But no, he can get rowdy, and he's a competitor. That's probably why. When he puts on that helmet, he's a different dude. And that's like a lot of NFL players. So he's one of those. So it was cool to see that side of Garrett Wilson. Just a intense competitor along with Sauce Gardner. Those two are just going to make each other so much better. Liev Schreiber, I probably am saying his first name wrong. The guy from, of course, Ray Donovan, is the narrator, and Aaron Rodgers kept saying he wanted to meet the voice of God. This dude comes out in a helicopter and lands right next to the facility. This is the first ever camp. He's been doing this for over 10 years, I believe. the first ever camp that he has ever been to meet Aaron Rodgers. So that was super cool. He sounded super cool. He seemed super cool. So that was something different that Hard Knocks has never done. This dude comes out of rather a private chopper. Like it was sick. What an entrance. Because when I saw the helicopter at first, I was like, who the hell is this? And then he's like narrating. He's like, oh yeah, I came to training camp. So that was a nice twist. To him and Rodgers got to meet. And that was definitely a first in Hard Knocks history. The Jets, man. Who would have thought? They haven't played a game yet, but just the amount of publicity they're getting is crazy. Like, we're not talking about developing anymore. We're not talking about potentially getting a high draft pick. They're talking much more. And you can see it from the players, the coaches. We only saw a tiny bit of Joe Douglas, but I know Joe Douglas, the owners, Woody and Christopher Johnson. Christopher Johnson was like sneaky in the opening scene. I don't know if anyone saw that when Saleh was giving the speech. For some reason, Christopher Johnson was like in the back row. I don't know why he was in there. I didn't know owners like would go into meetings. I don't think Woody was there, but he was. I did spot him. It was like a Where's Waldo page. I did see Christopher Johnson lurking around there in the back row for that opening scene. But of course, then the preseason stuff. Rodgers is basically a coach out there. Like he was the assistant coach out there. So that was definitely fascinating. He did call that play. Sauce Gardner as well was really, just very engaged into the game. They mostly only showed Saleh, Sauce, and Rodgers in the sidelines during that game. But Sauce's energy was off the charts. Like these guys weren't even playing, and they seemed like you would have thought they were playing. It shows love for their teammates. It shows passion. They want to see guys get better, especially Aaron Rodgers, just working so closely with Zach Wilson. He was literally a coach to Zach Wilson. So, of course, that's a big thing to get out of this. That Rodgers is not only here to win games, but he definitely is mentoring Zach Wilson. He is fully committed to that role, and it's great to see. He's mentoring everybody. He wants to see those young guys get better. Nate Hackett, of course, was featured in this too. Their relationship, him and Rodgers, you could see they're best buds. They were shitting on each other. They were playing this game when they're like throwing on the pylon, and they would say shit while they're throwing. And Rodgers said Sean Payton when Hackett threw it. They are kind of like brothers, really. It's a really cool vibe over there, especially in the offensive room with Hackett and Rodgers. They could joke around, but when it's business, it's business. And he's intense. He's, I don't know how you don't like that dude, Nate Hackett. I really, I didn't know much about how he was on the field. Of course, only about what Rodgers says about him, but the eye test passes with Nathaniel Hackett. He's intense. He's smart. He jokes around. I think he has all of those good qualities of a coach that creates a good environment in the room. And I think that's exactly what the Jets got in their offensive room. Offensive line, there wasn't a ton about the offensive line. I think we got a little more looking in One Jets Drive about the offensive line with it, following AVT and such. But the defensive line, They had some funny scenes calling a charcuterie board a coochie board. Oh man, I forget who said that too. Dang, who had said that? I don't know. I almost watched it a second time before I went into this recap, so I was really knew all the insides and outs. But I don't have to be an expert. I'm just splurring out my opinions and thoughts of this episode. But we're about to hit 20 minutes. I feel like that is a great number. Hard Knocks was great. 10 out of 10. I loved it. I can't wait for episode 2. I can't wait to continue to recap these episodes. Maybe I'll put in a different twist if I can think of cool ideas to do during these recaps, but I will definitely continue making them. And like the video if you do also like these recaps, and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. If you have, much appreciated. If you're new to the channel, welcome to the channel and appreciate you for even tuning in. You could also follow me on social media platforms at Turn Up the Jets, one word, on Twitter and Instagram. And I guess until next time when we got something else to talk about. See ya.
Jets, I hear them say it now.
Jets white green, just green and white. Tell me, have you ever seen a team take flight?